Hello, my friends. This is my first episode, so bear with me. I have been thinking about doing this for a long time, and this is my first shot at doing videos online, and so I've got notes that I'm going to be working from. Hopefully they don't distract too much from what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to communicate. So I want to start out with saying some things that are going to hit pretty hard. Number one, you've been lied to your entire life. We've all been lied to over and over again, constantly. How does that feel? How does that grip you? For me, it's deep down in the gut, that visceral, sickening feeling that is sometimes so disgusting that I want to vomit. I want to expel this poison that has been pumped into mind, body, and soul. It happens every day on the news, and I don't care what venue you look at, I don't care what channel you watch, I don't care the stuff that you dig into on any of the internet sites that are so prolific out there. Everything that you come across has some kind of a bias built into it. I'm going to be interrupted here by squirrels and deer, so if you see them, stick with me. So it happens in politics. It doesn't matter the party or the relationship that it's connected to. Everything has been twisted. It happens in personal relationships. I don't care what kind of relationship that you have with individuals or family members or society in general. It's all couched and coached and formatted for your consumption so that you think the way that others think. However, I find this most troubling when it comes to your relationship with the ethereal, whether you want to call that church or religion or whatever that might be. I go all the time, and I sit there and I listen to what's being said, and I'm like, well, that's not what it was meant to say at all. And people have twisted it into their own kind of, message that they want you to accept, that they want you to believe, because they want you to think the way that they think. I don't even know if you can call it religion anymore. It has become really a system of belief in order to pacify your existence into being a follower rather than having a direct connection with the divine. It sickens me deeply. Have you reached a point yet, like I have, where you ask, why? Why is this happening? Why are they doing this? You've been looking around and seen the excesses in bad behavior, greed and politics, and downright manipulation happening in churches and temples and mosques or meetings. From the pulpit, you see strict controls and outright radicalism. And you decide, you know what? I don't want anything to do with organized religion anymore. You may still attend with your family or whatever out of some kind of a commitment or tradition, but you chafe as you sit there and you listen to them seeking to control you and the way that you think. You have an innate belief in God, as all humans do, but you don't think any of the religions that are out there are telling you the whole story. Like me, maybe you've gone to this church or that church, or when I was overseas in the military, I went and studied Buddhism. I went and looked at other different kinds of religions as I was there, and I was in those societies, and I saw how they functioned and the things that they did, and I came away with, wow, this is really no different than anything that I have grown up with. They're seeking to find ways to feed things into my brain that they want me to think, that they want me to do. You begin to wonder why you feel this way, like I'm expressing here. Why do you feel like maybe religion doesn't exist? Maybe God doesn't truly exist. Am I an atheist or just an agnostic? Am I a bad person because I'm on the verge of rejecting these things that I'm being fed? Why can't I get past the issues created by people and focus on God, the universe, whatever I choose to call it? And by the way, who or what is God? On this channel, I'm going to spend however much time it takes to kind of go through these things and examine the why. The why do I feel this way? Why are they doing the things that they're doing that are pushing me away? Now, I'm a big fan of the Matrix movies. I don't know about the current one. I'll have to watch it a couple of times, but it doesn't seem to go along with the first three, but that's another story. But in Matrix Reloaded, there was this set of lines that really spoke to me. And I've kind of cut it down a bit so that you can get the salient points for this discussion. Morpheus and Neo are speaking to the Merovingian, if you remember, as they're in his club and they're drinking wine and they're doing all these things. And they walk in the door and they say, "Hey, we don't have time for this." And the Merovingian replies, "Yes, of course. Who has time? Who has time? But if we do not ever take time, how can we ever have time?" Morpheus responds, "You know why we are here." The Merovingian responds in a real condescending tone, "I am a trafficker of information. I know everything that I can. The question is, do you know why you are here?" Morpheus responds, "We're looking for the truth." The Merovingian, "Oh yes, truth, of course. But that is not a reason. That is not a why. The truth itself, its very nature, is a means, not an end. And so you look for truth, and that is to be looking to do what?" Neo responds, "You know the answer to that question." Merovingian follows with, "But do you? You think you do, but you do not. You are here because you are lost and are searching for something. It is, of course, the way of all things. You see, there is only one constant, one universal. It is the only real truth. Causality. It drives action and reaction, cause and effect. Morpheus replies, everything begins with choice. Responded to by the Merovingian, no, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without. Look at these folks that you know. All the people around you. They follow and accept, but do not know why. They internally feel that something is wrong with the world, but they do not know anything about it. No, they accept and suffer, and they do not know why. But soon it doesn't matter. Soon the why and the reasons are gone, and all that matters is the feeling itself. And this is the nature of the universe. We struggle against it. We fight to deny it. But it is, of course, pretend. It is all a lie. Beneath our poised appearance, the truth is, we are completely out of control. Causality. There is no escaping it. We are forever slaves to it. Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it. To understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless. And this is how you come to me. Without why, without power, another link in the chain. But fear not. Since I have seen how good you are at following orders, I will tell you what to do next. Run back and accept what your fortune tellers have indoctrinated into your being. But know this, time is almost up. Neil responds, this isn't over. The Merovingian replies, oh yes it is. The truth is mine, and I see no reason why I should give it to you. No reason at all. And of course that was the end of the scene, and a battle ensues. But I want you to think about that discussion for just a moment. If the why is power, how do you get to the why? It makes me think back. As some of you may know, some of you have been my previous students. Back when I was a professor, I am now a recovering university professor after having been beaten down by those that are in power. And I reached a point where I said, I cannot continue to do this. I cannot continue to say the things that I'm saying when I do not believe that they are true. I think about Plato, all right? Plato employs the maxim, know thyself. And this is used, of course, with Socrates in order to motivate the dialogues. Plato makes it clear that Socrates is referring to long established wisdom. You've heard it before. Knowledge is power. Let me change that just a bit. Knowledge is the foundation of power. And how do you get there? Let me follow that the bottom line of this is that there are 3 imperatives that I have come up with and that I've been teaching to my students for the past 20 years. All right? And those 3 imperatives are: know what you believe. Specific to understanding the individual aspects of what you believe. Number 2, know why you believe it. Where did that belief come from? Can you explain it without dichotomy or cognitive dissonance or blind acceptance? You can't say, oh, well, you know, I've been sitting in church for the past 25 years and this is what I was told. Or, my professor at school said that this. No, none of that is knowledge. That is opinion, and therefore not factual, and therefore of very little value. Number 3, be intellectually able to defend it. Have you the requisite knowledge and background and depth in order to explain and debate the opposite of what you think and believe in a manner that may generate truth? If you don't, you don't have knowledge. And I tell you what, saying that you read it in a textbook is garbage. What does logic tell you? What does your gut say? What does your mind and soul aggregate into the focus of your being? I'm going to read some stuff here that I came up with and wrote. And you can see it, most of this stuff, out on my website, ofgodandman.org. All right? Go out there, take a look. You can also see it on Of God and Man, my Facebook page. And I post things out there all the time. And maybe that's where you found this video, or maybe you found it on the YouTube channel itself. But let me go through this. It must be understood that religion can literally become the opiate of the masses, as Marx had stated. Now, Marx said a lot of things, and he generated a belief system that was detrimental and caused the deaths of a couple 100 million people. But the fact remains that religion can drive people to do things that maybe they shouldn't be doing. All right? They have specifically designed rituals and readings, as well as music, that target the release of dopamine, oxytocin, adrenaline, and other compounds inside the brain, which can create euphoria and other sensory responses. And these literally rewrite the pathways of the brain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is pure scientific fact. The longer that you sit and listen to things, the greater the propensity that you are going to believe it. Until something breaks you out of that mold. Something breaks you out of that mindset. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing these. They can drive the mind to desire more of the same, and often in increasing amounts to the point of fervor. in the same way that a junkie needs a fix. This desire can block out logic and common sense, causing the internal need for cognitive dissonance. What does cognitive dissonance mean? It means you have to hold two separate conflicting ideas in your mind at the same time and accept that both of them are true, when they can't be. If you think back to Orwell's 1984, which if you haven't read it, please go out and read it. But in there, when Wilson is being tortured, they're forcing him to accept two ideas inside of his head at the same time. And this is because a person intuitively knows that the ideation which they hold onto is not truth, but the thought of the loss of the feelings that it creates is more than they are willing to endure. So often, they will fight ferociously, sometimes to their death, if need be, to protect, enhance, spread, and increase their own state of mind and infect that of others. Because in a group, of course, the fervor rises even more intensely than just for an individual. And if others don't join, they become the enemy of reason, the enemy of truth, the enemy of belief. And yet others will finally see a path of escape and break away in order to be free. Only logic can be the cure, and it has to be administered in small amounts over long periods of time in order to lead the person to the realization and create an open mind. That's what I'm trying to do here. And as you can probably see, it's starting to rain, and I don't want to go on too long. This is a discussion. Please have a discussion with me. This is not a sermon. I'm not seeking to indoctrinate you. Please like, and for the benefit of everyone, please share and hopefully subscribe to this channel so that you can engage with me in these discussions. Thank you. I hope to see you soon.